Welcome to the Think Factory podcast. We got one question for you. What keeps you up at night?
Yes, it's Chris Santamassimo yet again at the Printing United Expo in Atlanta, and we're live on the floor, the Think Factory podcast, which is powered by OGC Solutions. And as I said earlier in one of our recordings today, it's pretty cool when you get to bring friends onto the podcast, and that's what we're doing right now. I'm really lucky to bring on Jennifer Ventola, who's the Director of Production Services for OUTFRONT Media, one of the top 3 out-of-home media companies in the country. So, Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Oh, it's great.
It's nice to see you again.
Oh, you too. And I got the pleasure of watching Jennifer do a panel presentation, and that's where we sort of met and got to be friends.
That's right.
So here at Printing United, Jennifer's kind of in an interesting role because she's not a printer anymore and she's not buying equipment anymore, but she's here because of being associated with print. So
right, exactly.
Love to have you tell everybody what you do and talk about OUTFRONT and why the show is really interesting.
Right. Well, OUTFRONT Media, as you know, is an out-of-home media provider, and they've been in business well over 40 years, 50 years. They've gone from 2 to 3 different iterations of who they are, and now they've been a public-owned company since 2014. They have billboard assets, transit assets, mobile assets across 38 markets nationally. So my role and responsibility to the company is the assets that they hold, I basically make sure we provide printing assets for them if needed. So a lot of media buying agencies handle their own print production, but a lot of people don't. And so, our role is to offer a turnkey solution to them, whether they need creative, whether they need production, installation, all those things come along with the media space. Right. So we do that for them as a turnkey service. So my role now is to make sure that our printing quality is vetted and the vendors that we use are vetted and the technology is advanced, printing quality is good, materials are top-notch, right. Those sort of things to make sure that there's no liability on our company and we're giving the best possible product. So something like this is such a huge platform for me to come and look and see what's new and exciting and different in finishing and technology. So I love it.
You probably pick up something new every time you come, no?
Every time.
Yeah.
Whether even if it's something from a color profile or color management system or a vinyl, a different weight vinyl that maybe can help us be quicker and more efficient in the field when the guys are installing it.
Right.
Print quality is key. And so I tend to hit the big printers to make sure that, our manufacturers that we buy from are printing with the most updated technologies, the fastest, most, efficient, so to speak. And the color management and the profiling is right. That's kind of important too. So I tend to run the gamut on those 3 things: printing, finishing, and color management.
Well, I was lucky to meet Kurt Carpenter from Convergent earlier today, who you introduced us to. Thank you very much.
He's a great supplier for us.
But he's got the right mindset. He said, if I can't get something out the door on time, every day that I don't is when one of OUTFRONT's customers doesn't get advertising, right. Which means you lose revenue.
Yeah, big time.
Right? Yeah.
We really do. And unfortunately, we're at the bottom of the chain, so to speak. So it goes through however many hands before it comes to us. So we're always under the gun. So the idea of not having solid vendors that can turn things around in a day or two to make sure we make our post date is so imperative to us.
So key, right?
Yeah. So we vet really carefully, and most of the people that we use and who are on our RFP, they're wonderful, and Kurt's one of them.
Yeah,
he really is,
and he's really dedicated too.
Yeah, he really is, and he knows the business, and that's what Listen, I'm only as good as them. Right. So the buck stops with me, but ideally, I'm only as good as they are. So if they're not good, then we're not good. And so that's why it's so important, because I'm now kind of a middleman when I never used to be. Like, I was on the manufacturing side and I could see it for myself and I could trust that it was right and I knew what I was sending was good. Now I have to rely on those people to make sure that I look good. And so I take very good care of what I make, of who I select and who we select as a company to represent us at OUTFRONT.
That's great.
Yeah,
and
it's important.
Have you seen anything new technology-wise that made you just stop and pay attention?
To be honest with you, what I did, and I took a video of it because I'm a little bit of a nerd, and I'm sure my team is going to make fun of me because I already sent it to a few of them. But the onset machine that I just saw has an automated arm now that actually it goes from automatic feeding, where it would just take a sheet and feed it in, to almost like a suction cup robot arm that picks it up, puts it on the bed, it prints it, then it takes it off the bed and puts it on the ground. And so you can run something 24 hours and not have men there. So you can have maybe one person just kind of mitigating issues.
Yep.
But you can run this all day, all night with a machine arm. So it's phenomenal.
Well,
it's really unbelievable.
I'll give a little promotional plug for my friends at AGFA, because I've been their general counsel now since
Oh, you're kidding.
2007. Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't think they could bring it to this particular show, but if you really want to get serious about the onset, they have dual robots, so that if you're doing two-sided media printing,
Stop it.
it does high five,
Oh, you
flips
kidding.
it over, and puts it in.
And
So,
with pinpoint registration on the other side.
unbelievable.
Say that is unbelievable.
The
It's
thing
unbelievable.
you saw how fast that thing is
Yeah.
shooting out sheets. So
I was completely floored. It's such a showstopper. Like, it should be in the front as soon as you walk in, that everybody can see it.
that's what I say.
You know, I mean, and listen, there's all the players here. Durst is here. You know, EFI is here. I mean, everybody does a great job. HP. I'm not going to knock anybody, but I just felt that was a showstopper for me.
Well, when you know, one of the big issues that everybody talks about, and they've been talking about it for the last 3 years, is labor, right?
Yeah.
So you could really, to your point, run that thing 24
Right.
hours a day. It doesn't stop. It's a workhorse.
Right.
You know?
I mean, listen, we know that AI is going to get involved, and we know it's going to enhance how we're doing business. And some jobs are going to leave, but other jobs are going to change and be better because of it. And so this is something that, you know, it's going to help on the labor side. We're still going to have to QC things. We're still going to have to check things and make sure there's quality. There's still going to be legs, but as far as getting pure production out of something at night, it's a game changer for a mom and pop shop or someone that doesn't run 3 shifts. So now you can actually run a 3rd shift or a 2nd shift. The efficiency just skyrockets. It really is. It's huge.
Rather than saying that we're going to put people out of work, which I don't think is the case, but
No.
what I think that technology does is elevate people a
Yeah.
bit. Keep them away from the repetitive, kind
Yeah.
of boring stuff, and
Exactly.
let people, rise
Right.
out of those positions
Right.
into more interesting things in the same shop.
Right. I mean, things evolve.
Of
Course.
nothing
really stays the same, and technology does help us. And so this is just something that's going to help us.
Yep.
I mean, even on the media side, where, and I can start talking about on the media side, but we have media planners. And, one of the technologies that, OUTFRONT is kind of looking to lead in is having a database system where you can put in certain demographics and certain parameters that you want, and it can pull a media plan together for you. Not saying you're going to send it soup to nuts to as is, but you're going to look at it and you're going to be able to change a little bit and add some nuances that a personal touch could give, but it gives you something that could take 5-6 hours for a planner to do, and it can give it to you in 5 minutes and pull it for you. And this way it just takes out that labor, so we can actually have account executives and salespeople that can better their time versus that.
Right.
So, it's just going to help us all around.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The AI is great as long as, at least in its current stage, it's great as long as you know the subject matter. So if you use the AI to generate the first draft and you can make sure it's right, because you're experienced, then it's perfect.
Right, exactly.
I think people who just use it and think whatever it says is right, probably missing the mark sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Well, we learned that with ChatGPT, right? People,
exactly.
The lawyer who.
Wait a minute. It doesn't get up. It hasn't been updated since 2021. What?
Exactly.
What do you mean?
Exactly.
So.
But listen. I think there's a place for it in everything, but it does make me nervous with the voice recognition and being able to call somebody and act like they're you, and those things make me a little nervous.
Those are a little scary.
But the other stuff on the technology side and the health side, and I think it's huge.
Yeah, if we can control the evil side of it a little bit and really use it for what it's good for, I agree that that's probably one of the biggest things about the technology here at the show is just being able to take out that work that nobody really wants to do.
Right, and there's a lot of technology here on that side as far as pre-press and color management and applying layers or filters or rebuilding files, like all those types of things that we spend hours doing on the print side.
Right.
It really helps every company and able to make their pre-press operators and their color management team so much better.
Yeah, and the
it's
computerized
amazing.
proofing tools,
Yeah.
right? And the workflows, really tremendous.
Yeah, it really is. Workflow, I have a different workflow because my media company so we don't really have workflow in the sense that's tied to our media.
Right.
So it's something that I'm looking for it to help us. So that's another thing that I was here to kind of check out to see how it would tie into our systems and if it could.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you probably need something that's a bit, connectable to other workflows that are in-house at your printers, right?
Yeah. So, but listen, it's evolving, and we're larger in the sense that we have 38 markets, so we have a national base, and every one of our markets have production people in it in some capacity, so we have to be able to talk to each other, so it's important that we get something that's going to advance that for us, I
also think it's about security too, and where you've got thousands or hundreds of thousands of jobs that you've completed in the past. There's a lot of value there, right?
Yeah.
For future projects.
Without a doubt.
If you can reuse elements that make sense and take advantage of those legacy projects, all the better with the workflows, right?
Yeah, I mean, having that history is important. Without a doubt.
Efficiency, I think, is one of the things that's on everybody's tongue. How do I get faster? How do I use fewer resources so I can charge my clients a more appropriate amount, or be more competitive? And to the extent you can do some of that, that's another place where technology is really interesting.
Yeah, it's that lean manufacturing mentality.
Exactly. Why reinvent the wheel every time you do a project?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, Toyota was key in that as far as the auto industry, and I think they led the way. And a lot of the tools and things that OUTFRONT is implementing is kind of in that capacity too.
Right.
To be lean, efficient, smarter, better.
Well, you've sort of got it all, though, in terms of you were in the print business yourself.
Yes.
So you're not somebody who's, sitting in the ivory tower and just not understanding what your contractors do.
I was fortunate to get my hands dirty right after school. So I started in traditional signage, and then from traditional signage I went to theatrical displays, and then from theatrical displays I went to large format.
Right.
So I've kind of run the gamut of all the printing capabilities, and I've worked in facilities that have from traditional Duratrans printing to large format to screen printing to so I've been lucky in that regard, and I've kind of know the back end of how things work, which actually helps me in negotiating with my vendors and vetting them to make sure that they're telling me the truth.
Right.
People can say a lot of things, but at least I know if they're telling me something that's outlandish or that's something accurate. So if they tell me a printer went down, or they're telling me
word other
than
outlandish,
I didn't want to curse. I don't want to curse on this.
It's a family show after all.
Exactly. And I can curse, which we don't want to.
We're both from the Bronx, of course we
that's
can
right. That's right.
Curse,
That's right. We're just passionate and honest, right?
That's how I characterize it all the time. So.
Exactly. But in other words, I can talk their talk and speak their language, and so if they're going to call me and tell me, hey, this machine went down or that went down, we could actually kind of collaborate and say, hey, listen, why don't you run it this way, or maybe do it this way instead. So not only does it help me keep them kind of honest, it also helps me still have a tie to what I love and what I used to do, because I do miss.
Just getting your hands dirty,
I miss
right?
getting my hands dirty. I miss the smell of it. I miss just being there and being hands-on. So I mean, I still visit my shops. I still go to the vendors that we use, but I do like having that back end knowledge, because most people in my industry don't.
Right.
So I kind of bring something to the table that helps my company more than others, just because of my background.
Well, I really love a customer or client relationship where you can brainstorm back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess when you're younger, doing whatever it is you do, you always think you want to be the guy or the girl who comes up with all the answers and stuff. In business, in reality, it's really supposed to be a two-way street.
Right.
So if you can help them brainstorm a solution to a problem, then all the better for you. Right?
Yeah, and collaboration is key.
Yeah.
I mean, you really get the best when you collaborate.
Yeah.
You can't be on an island. It doesn't bode well.
No.
So, and you never want to act like you know more than anybody else. Not know more than anybody else, but that you know everything.
Right.
Because you could learn something every single day.
No doubt.
And
especially
so that's
in this business, right?
Yeah, and I do. I do almost learn something new every day, whether it be something on the media side, something on the print side, or maybe just a new way to be more efficient to get through the city. You know, like you're constantly learning.
If you figure that out, we should talk, because you'll be a millionaire pretty quick.
Exactly.
Well, this is a lot of fun, Jennifer. Let me ask you something as we sort of wrap up a little bit. What do you see are some of the real opportunities in print, whether it's related to OUTFRONT or just in the market in general, for next year and beyond?
This is actually a very good question. I mean, I see this is a good question. I see that there's a lot more opportunity on the print side. I mean, I know we are changing a lot of things to digital, but we're not changing all of it. most of this stuff is being newly implemented, so we're not converting. Some stuff we are, well, I shouldn't say we're not converting. Some stuff we are converting, but we basically are expanding the platform of the quality of the printing and the efficiency and the longevity in market. And I think that there's just a better way to advertise. And I think that the out-of-home industry, being out in public and seeing things, I think I'm actually losing myself. I apologize.
No, I get it. No, you're making sense to me.
No, I'm actually kind of rambling, but that's okay. I appreciate it. So I think that printing is going to stay. And I think the technology has advanced in such a way, and the quality of materials that now we can do wallpaper for exterior, and we can do textured surfaces, and we can do mylar and metallics. So I think those things are going to keep print alive and vibrant in the coming years, where it's not just that same old way of doing it. There's just a better way of doing things, and they look better in market, and people just want it.
Well, the quality is so good.
Right.
It's better than what you look at on a screen a lot of times when you print
it. Is.
It
is.
And you get the texture, you get the embellishment, you get the 3D effect, but you can see this is me talking now. You could see 3D effect on a computer monitor and go, oh, I guess that's cool. But when you see it printed, when there's embellishment and a 3D effect on, I just saw it earlier today.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, how did somebody do that?
The quality
is that good.
The quality is getting much better.
Oh,
and the turnarounds are getting much better. And the products that they're putting out are better.
Yeah.
So, I think you're getting more bang for your buck, so to speak. And I just don't see print going away. I see it evolving into something bigger and better.
Yeah. I think it's got a lot of staying power in terms of how you market to people, too.
It does. Listen, the out-of-home helped us through COVID. Billboards were huge and really got us through the bad times when transit and ridership and people weren't commuting, and advertisers equivocate commuting to advertising dollars.
Sure.
And so that wasn't there. And really the static end of billboards, and there was some digital, but the static end of billboards really got everyone through.
Yeah.
And it was a game changer, and I still think it is.
Yep.
The idea of leaving your house, being out of your house, and bringing the consumers to your brand is priceless.
No doubt.
So I'm looking forward to the next chapter of the printing.
Excellent. And look, I think there's a renewed way of thinking after COVID too. It's people want to be outside.
Yeah.
People want to go places now again.
Exactly.
And people are comfortable doing it. So all the better to be in that business, right?
And back to with the AI and having that interaction with the static media.
Yeah.
That actually helps with some sort of call to action or something along those lines where you're engaging with the public while they're waiting for the bus, or so it's just a huge medium that's not going to go away.
For OUTFRONT, I know you're on the print side of the business, but there's a whole another 2/3 of OUTFRONT that's really tech driven and really that end of the marketing where it's a continuum rather than just seeing
right, and they're very thoughtful in the way that they put packages together and the way that they bring technology and innovation and location and creativity, all of it, to a branding message, and we basically make business for people. We bring more business to them because it just the platform allows it.
Well, if you were asking me the same question I asked you about opportunities, I really think that it's what you do at OUTFRONT or what your team does, where it's this connection between the print and the technology that brings this sort of circular and repetitive effect to the marketing.
Right.
But I think the print is always going to be the anchor for it, though.
Yeah, I think print, and I also think the creativity end as far as the design. And I think that's kind of what, it's a turnkey service.
Right.
So you're not only giving them an outdoor space, but you're giving them an asset that you can install and visually see, and you're also giving them the design end of it. So it really is a full turnkey offering.
Yeah.
It's something different that not a lot of people do.
It's really impressive.
Yeah.
As are you, and that's why I invited you to come today.
I appreciate it.
I really appreciate the chance to just share with everybody else the kind of things we were chatting about. So this is really, really
I appreciate the time. I really do. Thank you, and I apologize if I rambled a little bit.
No,
I got ahead of myself.
Like you said about the Bronx thing, you're passionate about the business, so that's really what we love. So
it was really good to see you.
Oh, it was terrific. So just in case you came in the middle. Jennifer Ventola, the Director of Print Services for OUTFRONT Media, was our guest today, and we really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Hope you do too. And I'm Chris Santomassimo, host of the Think Factory podcast, and we're powered by OGC Solutions. We'll see you next time.